And we're live. Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Legends podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, at Stupid Chainsaw Productions. With me is my co-host, Dylan, from the Sons Foundation. Then we also have Brian and Amelia returning to the podcast, also from Twin Sons.
I do exist.
And also we have Adam's Nerd Pub. Hello, Adam. As someone who didn't really know about the Billboard. And
it'll be entertaining for you then.
We have the Chico train is going to come by and shake my house right at the start.
Well, you know.
The way I love it.
Well, they got to start somewhere, right?
You got to love living right next to railroad tracks.
This podcast is sponsored by the Chico public transportation industry.
It's not even public. It's not Amtrak.
It's sponsored by the letter T and the number 12.
This is sponsored by Amtrak, the most expensive way to travel through the United States of America. This is why everyone uses trains. But I digress. Yeah, let's talk about the Billboard. It went up today. We haven't talked about it in a few months. About 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's about right. Well, I mean, it did successfully fund in 1 month, so, you know, we thought we were going to have more time to talk about it before we're like, oh, we're done already. What happened? No, yeah. I mean, we signed that contract so fast as soon as we had the funds, man. It was signed, I think November 7th was when I did that.
Yeah, it was pretty early in November.
I know we reached fully funded on Halloween because that happened during Matt Wilkins' live stream.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had to go back and forth on the contract a few times, so it did take me a few days before we actually had it signed, but it was still early November.
Yeah, because we originally wanted
the plague hit right before our Billboard went up.
Yeah. So anyone who wants to go make the pilgrimage to San Francisco, go look at Billboard.
Have some, Elite Ninja skills or something, because that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, don't break any laws on our behalf. We already have images of it. We don't need. Thank you if you do, but be safe out there, please.
Unless you have a cure for coronavirus that you are going to publicly distribute, please don't visit our Billboard.
Hey, it got funded. I'm still happy about that we've done that twice.
Oh yeah, and this one, it wasn't just one; it's 2 billboards too. And it was in half the time that we got twice as many billboards up, and we did it at half the distance from the prior one in 2016.
I think that's because people take it seriously now.
The prior one was 6 blocks away. This one is only 3 blocks away.
Also, there were no Twin Sons the first time we did a billboard.
That's right.
No, we were just giving.
That's why people take it seriously now.
None of us have to take a tax hit this time. That's nice.
By none of us, you mean
talk
you.
About that on here, Brian?
If you guys want to talk about, I don't care.
I don't remember.
It was ancient. It's ancient information to me on this at this point.
Yeah, I think we've stated publicly this multiple times. That we had to. Part of the reason that we became a nonprofit was because someone had to claim the original Billboard funds as income, and that ended up being Brian. He got put in a higher tax bracket because of it.
Fun times. But hey, it was worth it. It was all worth it. But yeah, nobody has to do that this time. And anybody who donated, tax deductible.
Yeah.
Theft deductible.
I knew she was going to say it. It would have been too tempting for her not to. But yeah, no, we got both of them up. They went up this morning. I had a little bit of a sleepless night last night because I wasn't 100% confident we'd actually have photos, since the plans for people to be there were less certain this time around due to what's going on. The company that we went through did agree to take some photos, and you have to rely upon somebody who's third party, who's not really somebody that it's always a little bit nerve-wracking. I'm like, if they don't give us photos, we might not have any photos and nobody's going to be there. This could be problematic. But no, they got us some photos fairly early on. It wasn't first thing in the morning like it was last time, so we were freaking out a little bit, but they did get it to us. I think it was about about 10 hours ago, roughly. I think or so. So, yeah.
Let's see if I've got this working correctly.
Are you going to try to screen share them?
Yes.
I did have a bunch of them ready to go. I also have a rough map as to where they're at, if you guys want to see that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Jacob Ayers said that he's going to San Francisco in a hazmat suit.
You should make sure you can see.
You do that prior to COVID-19. It feels nasty. I mean,
no comment.
As someone who has been to San Francisco twice as a part of a Twin Sons donation, that was not man. You guys have no idea how much those kids needed those books. Unironically, Tenderloin's a very rough neighborhood.
Literally, the 2 times I've been to San Francisco, it was a nightmare to get in, and it was a nightmare to get out. They make up like street signs that you'll not find anywhere else in California, just because they don't want people driving in San Francisco. It is so unbearable.
So as someone that's kind of new to the Billboards game, I was going to ask now, like, I've read them a little bit, but they're basically just a request to continue the expanded universe, correct?
That's correct. One thing that got confused when we did the original one, because this isn't the first time we did one, as you can see on the map, our first one's actually in the upper right. That was the original one back in 2016. More or less the same message, but less descriptive, because there were a few things that got twisted around on that when people didn't quite understand what we were going for. Back then, Disney's canon was very new. I think episode 7 had just released a few months prior. Mm-hmm. So we hadn't even gotten halfway through their new trilogy at that point. And a lot of people thought we were asking for a discontinuation of what they were planning on doing with the Disney canon, and swap back fully to the Legends canon or the expanded universe canon, which wasn't accurate. We knew that was never going to happen. All we wanted was a continuation of both stories. So we tried to make that a little more clear with both of these this time around.
Yeah, I saw that part where you're wanting to say, like, hey, the people that love Disney canon can go on enjoying it, but let the people that enjoyed Legends,
Right. And we knew that was going to be an important message to have on those billboards somewhere. We actually spent the last 2 celebrations in 2017 and 2019 taking surveys of attendees who stopped by our booth to find out how many of them would support a continuation of Legends. And then on that same survey, we asked them how many follow the new canon on there. And I think it was like 98% would support the new, the continuation. And I think it was like 80+% were also following the new canon. So it was pretty clear there was a heavy mixture of fans in there that would be, interested in a continuation. So obviously you don't want to confuse or concern those individuals. So we got to make it perfectly clear what we're wanting to do. And so we tried to do that with the limited space that you're afforded with a billboard.
Well, you have 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I really do hope that, it works and that they let the expanded use continue, because as someone that just started reading the Legends books recently, it would, one of the big problems about like the setback from it for me was that, I was just like, well, I mean, the story's not going to be concluded. So I was just, kind of worried that I'd get too invested into it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's highly likely, coming from the experience of everyone here, I'm sure, it's highly likely you'd be quite invested.
I already am. I've already finished 2 of the Darth Bane books, the Plagueis, and a few others, and I really do enjoy the expanded universe so far. So,
welcome to our cult, Adam.
One of us.
It's like, welcome to the dark side.
I want to sidetrack here.
We have cookies.
Because Dylan played a guilting game on Adam the other day.
Oh, yeah. When we were on Matt Wilkins' channel, like I mentioned that after I finished the Rule of 2 that I wanted to take a break from Darth Bane, and you didn't mean to, but you said, oh, you're not going to read Dynasty of Evil? I don't know why, but when you asked me that, I just felt so guilty. I'm like, okay, now I have to finish it.
He has no choice in the matter anymore.
It was more like the way he asked it. I'm just like, I really do want to know what happens, but I think you were using a Jedi mind trick on me or something.
I didn't even mean it that way. I was just like curious, like, oh, that's going to be. Well, I mean, you can do it. You would just have. I think you would just have to reread the Bane trilogy, or maybe you can.
Yeah, I mean, I took a year off before I read Rule of Two, and I ended up reading Path of Destruction again. Brian, you want to circle through these?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've got 4 photos of the 2 billboards. I'll give you the first 2 that we got from the Billboard company themselves. And this is actually the second of the 2 designs that we had, but this is the more humorous one, as you can see. The Dear Lucasfilm, we couldn't buy new Legend stories, so we bought these billboards instead. 2 timelines, the old alongside the new. You can bring balance to the fans. And then, of course, it has them go to our website where you can find more information on what we're wanting to do. Because, again, limited billboard space is a bit of a challenge when you have a big message to share. And then this is the other one. This is more in line with the first billboard that we did, kind of more direct to the point with what we were wanting to do. We kept that 2 timelines, the old alongside the new. And I don't know if everybody watching this had followed the whole, rundown on the background of all of these billboards and how they came to be with these messages. But Dylan or Amelia, do you guys want to talk about that at all?
Well, to start off, the reason why we went with 2 billboards instead of 1 was the company that we'd worked with, which you can see on the billboards, Clear Channel. Since the last time we did this, they changed their policies that they were no longer issuing billboards out for just 1 month period. It was you could either get 1 billboard for 2 months or 2 billboards for 1 month. And we thought to ourselves, well, the billboard, technically speaking, only really needs to be up for a day to get the message out there. So it doesn't matter. Longevity doesn't matter. But if we could do 2 billboards, then we could be more. We had more room to play with within our messaging, and we're not just doing the same thing again. We're like doubling it. So it made a lot of sense in our minds to go for the 2 billboards for 1 month, which is what we ended up doing. The messaging. That these were workshopped. I want to say I can't even remember. I don't even remember how many times.
Yeah, I mean, we started originally back at the tail end of July, I believe it was, when we started talking about this.
Yeah,
and then basically we went straight through August, September, basically every week, a few times a week, we were talking to each other. We actually stuck to Skype a few times because. As we all know, Matt loves to use Skype at the time.
He's a boomer. He thinks Skype is still relevant.
So we used Skype just to try and keep him involved. We had other individuals like Christopher Nelson involved, and obviously everybody from Twin Suns, chimed in from time to time. Some of them, could join. Matt was actually pretty busy around that time. He was only able to join us a few times, but. Aside from that, yeah, we had some pretty good attendance, a lot of brainstorming, and we knew pretty quickly what we roughly wanted them to say. It was just the specific wording. And obviously we kept the same style as what we did with the 2016 billboard because copyright. How do you say Star Wars without saying Star Wars, right? So
we actually had a couple weeks ago. We had the company ask us, "Hey, is this okay?" And it's like it was okay last time. We had it.
Yeah, they asked us, "Are you guys going to get sued for copyright? Are we going to get sued for copyright since they're technically using Star Wars imagery without necessarily?" And we're like, "Well, we're not saying Star Wars on it. We're just using a Star Wars font, which is technically public domain."
It was an altered Star Wars font too, because we had to customize that and the custom colors and all that fun stuff. So that was actually part of our message back to them. Hey, a lot of this looks like it, but it's also all custom, and nothing on there should be copyrighted. I was actually a little bit surprised that they came to us just 2 weeks before we were going live with that concern. I'm like, you've had these, this artwork by our friend
Paul Adams.
Yeah, Paul Adams, who's done the first one. He did these as well, but they've had those since the middle of November. So I was kind of surprised that they decided.
And Paul actually also does exactly this professionally.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the one thing that's always surprised me about the expanded universe movement is just how much of a vast array of talented individuals you have within its ranks. I mean, it's you have so many different professions represented, and I think we had the story of the original Billboard plenty of times on here, but finding the right people was very interesting. How we just all kind of fell in. Somebody would have the answer to the next problem that came up every time. Like, how do we find the Billboard locations? I've got that. I deal with this professionally. That's my job. Okay, who wants to do the artwork? Paul's got that. And how do we get this wording together? A bunch of writers and authors and all sorts of talented individuals came together. So it worked out pretty well. And most of them are still around, and they helped us with this. And so new faces came in too. So yeah, all overall, a pretty good story, I think.
Well, I was going to say, like, from the Billboard, it looks like it's like a very reasonable request, because you're basically saying, like, hey, Disney, you can still do the movies and have the park and everything. Like, we just want our stories that we love to continue. That's all we want, Yeah.
We're not trying to be unreasonable. We know a lot of people love them, and they have a lot of money into it too, for the new canon. We know what it's like to have your story just stopped. It's not fun.
I feel like it would be a very good opportunity for them to make more money.
Well, that's kind of what we're thinking too.
That's what we've always said. That's always the angle we've tried to take is, hey, Disney, want to make more money?
They're probably like, yeah, wait, what, money?
Well, that's a lot of our. It's on our website. People leave us comments all the time in their donations, and a lot of people have been saying, "This is all the money that I would have been spending on Star Wars these past 5 years," or something along those lines.
Yep. No, I mean, that second billboard, the wording on that was kind of a play off of this whole thing. We bought these billboards instead because there were no other, legend stories to buy. So I was kind of in that messaging too. It was humorous, but it was also trying to make a point. Hey, this could have been your money if you had made one or two more Legends books, that kind of thing. And
if I can interject here.
It's your show.
What do you mean it's his show? I thought this was us. Jeremy's just here to look pretty.
Oh, thank you. So my whole thing, though, I love both the billboards, and I love the cause. Like we bought a billboard instead because we couldn't buy Legends books. In actuality, and Dylan and I have talked about this before, both on here and off. Non-recorded, that it really wouldn't be much for them to release something because they have stuff. They have stuff in the vault that they could just release. Like, oh, here you go. Here's the Escape from Daggoo.
Polish it off, send it to the pressers. I'm pretty sure they can manage that. I mean, they're the largest media corporation on the planet.
And even with 108, they proved that if they get the right people behind it, they can pump out a new story.
And we're frequently talking about how those new authors or all the other authors are interested too, right? Like, Dylan, you know a few, right?
Well, yeah. Every celebration since the celebration, the 2015 celebration, Anaheim, I think it was Celebration 7. We've asked, and every one of them, all the old, not a single old expanded universe author has told us no.
Yep, pretty much all of them. And I've talked to Michael Stackpole at the Phoenix Convention a few years ago. He was still interested, and I know Drew Karpyshyn said he's been interested. But this is the actual web address for where the billboard sends people, and it looks like we've had a few hundred hits today since I've been watching. So definitely getting some traffic, which is good. Just hoping to keep spreading it around. Hopefully, some media websites start picking it up too, like they did with the first one. But just kind of gives you a rough rundown as to what we're looking for, who we are, that kind of thing. As you can see, we actually have a ongoing fundraiser too. We're actually not too far off of that goal, guys. Only $410 to go. That would cover the last location. But for those who don't know, Twin Suns Foundation, our primary focus is actually bringing Star Wars books to kids at children's hospitals, libraries, and schools and whatnot, kind of improving literacy. That's how we get our 501c3, charity aspect. That is our primary focus. And this Billboard business is actually just kind of a side thing that we're doing to kind of help support the Expanded Universe movement, since that's where we all met. And it is a project that is near and dear to our hearts, of course. But yeah, we've got over 1,100 books now donated, and potentially 1,500 is what we're aiming for by the end of the year.
Yeah, we're on pace. Assuming we hit this goal and we hit our other goal for our fundraiser at the second half of the year, wherever that fundraiser ends up being, we should hit that. We just got to hit the goals.
That's right. So we're off to a good start. I mean, we funded 2 events with the 940 there. And then obviously with just a little bit extra, we'll be able to get that 3rd event in there, which I think will be a first for us. 3 events in one go. Not bad.
Technically, yeah.
And initially, we'll probably do something like after Star Wars Celebration, like assuming that coronavirus ends before then and that it doesn't get canceled. But yeah, we'll probably end up just collecting books from people at Celebration and then donating those somewhere local.
I should also take
make 4.
Should also take a moment to mention this, since a lot of people ask us about this. If you have Star Wars books that are used that you want to donate, we can donate those as well. Any of these addresses, will take them and we'll get them to places in the area around us. Like mine would be the Arizona location, Dylan's the California location. We have Ryan over in Iowa, and we have an unknown individual in Louisiana who takes care of the Louisiana one. We know who he is, but he prefers to remain anonymous. But I want to mention that because that is a question we get pretty often is, what do we do with some extra Legends books? I know everybody buys, second copies every now and then.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, I'm in the middle of rebuilding my collection right now, post-fire. So,
okay. So, you have a reason to buy second copies, though. And you're going for hardbacks, which we don't generally get those.
Right now,
I've had this problem where it's like I'll accidentally buy a copy of something I didn't realize I already had.
Right. Well, you gotta have a list.
I will say this: I've been working on my the Marvel Epic collections right now because I'm getting back into reviewing the comics coming in the summer.
Oh, that's another one when we're done with the Billboard talk, we can talk about.
Yeah, we definitely. That's why I wanted to record tonight. The Billboard coming up was just icing on the cake. Just need to throw something out here. Dylan, could you read?
Brian, doesn't that make you just feel so used by Jeremy?
Which one?
Hey, I'm just here to get his popularity up. That's all.
I can see the comments. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you read some? Do you have the chat up?
Yeah, I can see it on the side. Which ones?
I'll start with Quality Autism's Hi Guys, and I haven't continued from there. I just don't want to be the only one missing reading.
I don't think they. Yeah, I've been following it. I don't think they're really
there isn't a lot of a question.
Well, I mean, if they have questions, they can certainly ask. I mean, all 3
Guys,
of the Billboard
ask us questions.
Well, another thing we've kind of alluded to, but we know we're going to get comments on this, and yes, we know that this is not the best timing for this. We had no idea of knowing back in July when we first started working on this, and in November when we've signed the contract.
There would be a plague.
Yeah,
in some ways, I'm actually not sad about it because the way, our primary audience was intended to be Lucasfilm's employees. They're most likely not going to see it in person. But at the same time, you have a contract, you got to adhere to your contract. And I'm kind of sitting here going, well, at least I know the people who put this billboard up and their company got some income at a time when income's a little bit harder to come by. So, there's also that aspect. And then, of course, everybody's behind a computer these days because there's nothing else to do right now. So if we get some coverage online, it could work out.
Well, I was going to ask, for donating books, do you only accept paperbacks or do you accept hardbacks?
We accept anything we're given.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have one that I'd be happy to donate to you guys. So
shoot it away.
I'm sorry, what?
Even the Del Rey sampler is accepted.
Yep. And because people ask this question all the time, yes, we will donate the new canon books as well. We just don't generally purchase those with the funds because they're generally more expensive and their form factor is different enough that it causes issues transporting them, oddly. But should mention that as well.
Yeah.
Question here from Jacob Ayers.
What did they like?
Get the books. What did they like the most?
So are we talking about which book or?
I'm assuming so. Like, what's your top 5 popular?
Good question.
Well, ever since we started using the Jedi Academy books, like the little picture books, those are the ones that like fly off the most because the kids love them. They're
meant for the younger crowds, and
one that we
children's hospitals have a lot of them. So
we had a rule where we don't donate Schreiber for the longest time because you know anyone who's read a Schreiber book can know that his books get a little too much for kids. But there was one event that was going to be around Halloween, and we're like, you know what? Let's throw like 1 or 2 Death Troopers in, and those were the first 2 that were gone.
Yeah, Death Troopers is quick. What was one? Oh, I had a good one. I did a Phoenix. I've done the Phoenix Children's Hospital donation every year so far. And I think it was 2 years ago, I had a kid come up with a parent because we do this in an event room they have there. And they were looking through all the books, and they went to grab for Labyrinth of Evil. The mother did not like the title, so made him pick something else.
I have that.
Yeah, the word labyrinth is just so offensive. Please delete. Please delete this.
I had that with Shadowhunter. A kid wanted the Shadowhunter, and the mom was like, "No, that's I don't like that. That's too scary for me." And I'm like, "But it's such a good book, though."
I know. I'm almost done with it right now.
No, we try to pick books that are the first in their respective series that, that way they're not getting completely lost if they want to get into it. And we try to pick things that you might have seen characters from the movies in. So, the big 3 or, Chewbacca, Orlando, all these characters, Yoda. Very hard to do with Legends books.
And things that are relatively kid-friendly.
Well, with Yoda, it's just Yoda Dark Rendezvous.
Exactly. So you have one option there.
But we also we pick books that feature younger kids. So Rogue Planet, for example, is one we gravitate to a lot because it has a 10-year-old Anakin. The first book, the Corellian trilogy, Ambush at Corellia, because it features the Solo kids when they're about 8 to 12 years old, around that age.
What about Crystal Star?
Well, you see.
Well, if you're looking for books that feature the big 3, I was going to donate this one.
Crucible?
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Okay.
The end.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not technically a start of a series, but it also largely ties into New Jedi Order, Legacy of the Force, Fate of the Jedi.
I should mention that the used books can generally not be taken to the hospitals. We have to take them to little free libraries and places like that, just for cleanliness reasons. So in your case, I don't think that would matter so much. But if I were to take that to a children's hospital, it might.
I actually have
not
one
normally
here
work.
with me.
Oh yeah.
So this is what we use to transport. Well, this is what Brian and I use. I don't know what Amelia uses, but
I just carry them in the freaking Amazon cardboard boxes.
Well, these are the milk crates
I
we
also
use.
forgot how to speak English.
And what we do for the hospital visits is we pretty much we'll wipe these down either the night before if it's an early morning donation, or the morning of if it's an afternoon with Lysol wipes just to disinfect them. And we take the books and put them in here. We do have to open up the Amazon packaging because a lot of times when you order 1 or 2 books, it's not usually an issue. But when you're ordering hundreds of books, you oftentimes will get one that has a bent corner or part of the pages that are a little bit ripped. So we have to open them to make sure none are damaged, and if any are damaged, we have to find a replacement for it somehow, which is usually up to the a little bit of a side note into what we do. Sometimes the volunteers are literally out of pocket replacing damaged books from that we get, just because we don't want to. I think Bill had a really bad one once where the entire front cover of Jedi Search was folded twice. So it was folded once and then folded a second time over.
Yeah, we're not going to donate that one. At least not to the Children's Hospital. Maybe as a used book somewhere.
Quality Optimism asks the important question. Does anyone ever pick up Crystal Star or Planet of Twilight?
I mean, at least in my experience, I handed out books to kids based on their age and interests.
I don't know that we've had those at donation events before.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
we try to order more kid friendly stuff. I mean, granted, like a lot of the stuff is at least PG-13, but we try to keep it PG, like stuff that would be basically PG-13 and under. You know.
Well, I mean, there
I
is
think-
Shadows of the Empire, which Jacob
I was about to-
was asking for.
Yeah.
So we actually do. We actually do bring that one from time to time. We just make sure it goes to the older kids.
same with the Plagueis, because that's a great one, but it's got a lot of dense political maneuvering in it that we're like, I don't know if like a 10-year-old is going to be able to follow this.
Dylan, here's a good idea. Let's show them the Excel spreadsheet that we usually use for our buying and kind of go through that process if they're curious.
While Dylan pulls that up, I'm going to address a couple things here. All the Autism says, do you think the garbage media will still attack us EU fans because of bad timing, regardless of the facts you just stated?
Yes, if certain outlets pick it up first ahead of others. Certain outlets being the ones who don't do any background information search on what's going on. Back with the first Billboard,
news.
Basically, back in 2016, somebody basically typed up a 3-paragraph story on what they thought the Billboard was for back then. And that just basically ended up copied and pasted across a bunch of the low tier, I guess, media outlets. Very few of them actually did any real research on that. So that's what I mean by if the right people pick it up first, like, you know, you get these to certain individuals that we know, like I may or may not have emailed 540 contacts that we have information on what was going on to try and get ahead of that problem. But yeah, we're kind of expecting that to be an issue. And if it becomes a big enough issue, heck, I will take a photograph of the actual contract that I signed with the date and say, this answers all your questions right here.
So you've got let me just check. You've got this up? Yes, you do. So this is the Excel spreadsheet that I put together that we use when we purchase books. This isn't like strictly how we do things. It's just a guide for us. So we have the books. We have this is pretty much all of them that we're aware of that are either arguably a self-contained or a book one. There's a few that are like technically part of larger trilogies, like for example, Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. It's technically a book 3, but it's also like its own contained story. So we count it. That one's actually a popular one because of Vader. So the first thing on here is a timeline. Now, something we've noticed is that not all the expanded universe books and Legends books actually have the timeline in them. Some do, some don't. And it doesn't really matter when they were copyright published. It matters the title. So, for example, Outbound Flight, at least from what we've seen, all copies of Outbound Flight have the timeline in them. But Rogue Planet does not have the timeline. And since part of us trying to encourage them to read with the expanded universe is the fact that all these books work together. So you read one book, that was a great book, you pick up another one, and like you just get hooked. Without the timeline, they don't really have as easy access to that. So we generally try to emphasize the ones that have the timeline first in our book purchasing. Now, these three, BL, which is book level, IL, which is interest level, and points are referring to the accelerated reading program, which is used in a lot of states. I know it's used in California and Florida and a few others. Book level is roughly the reading level of that the book has or how difficult. So a 6.1 means it's early 6th grade. A 7.1 means early 7th grade, so on and so on. Now, these may look high because, again, we market more towards children's. These look more like middle high school levels. But when we put together this list, we noticed that these this range of reading levels from about 5 to 8 is around the same that the Harry Potter books, which are also in. So we think it's perfectly fine. But again, we like to look at these a little bit just for if we're doing a donation in a state that does accelerated reading, or there are children. Or they're like younger children, just to see if it's appropriate. However, not all the books are on accelerated readings, so like we put these priority. Interest level, it's just all of them say high school. Nope, I don't want to replace that. All of them say high school, so we just put 9. And then points is just how long the book is. Speaking of how long the book is, we also have the page count of the book. And this is another important thing because
It is actually.
A lot of the kids will get intimidated by the bigger books. So we also will look at which books have a shorter page counts and try to get more of those. These two, for example, the Han Solo trilogy and the Han Solo and Lando Adventures book, there are 3 in 1. So we have their total page count, but also the page count of book 1, because a lot of times we'll use that one when they don't want a really big book and it looks big, but we explain to them, this is only this only part of it. That's all you got to read, because that's just one book. It's 3 books together. So you only have to read a third of it and then you'll finish the book.
You're right back.
All right, have fun. Go for me.
And yeah, it just goes down. It just goes from there. And again, this isn't like strictly we go to Heir to the Empire, then Dark Lord. Then we don't go like down the list. We just use it as a reference, and it depends a lot on. It depends
Pricing.
a lot on where you're donating, where we're donating to, and quite honestly, what's available.
What's available and what quantities and pricing, how quickly we can get them, all that fun stuff's taken into account. But the other thing that we finally got to take into account with our last book buying was we had some of our donors on with us to discuss this, bring up more ideas for additional books and kind of help us prioritize certain ones that they'd want to see donated off of the list or possibly added to the list, which was a lot of fun, actually. A lot of fun. I'm kind of looking forward to doing that again sometime. But yeah, it's a pretty involved process. Dylan did a lot of work putting this together, and it's been pretty much an invaluable tool for us.
We got 2 more here. First from Jacob Ayers. How about Ruins of Dantooine?
Was that on our list? I don't remember donating that one, actually.
No
one else, except for having the worst Star Wars cover ever. And the other one from Quality Autism is the Jedi Prince series, popular among children. Good luck finding the Jedi Prince series to donate.
That's honestly the biggest problem we run into is a lot of the books that are generally meant for, I'd say, the majority age group that we typically run into at the hospitals tends to be out of print. So you can't really find them, which is very unfortunate because obviously they'd be popular.
Right. And for sanitation reasons, the hospitals do prefer new books. And not only that they're new and they're clean, but have been basically touched minimally. Because I think one of the staff, one of the ones at the, I think it was Radies who were trying to do a donation event at for a while, explained that when they're on it was Lucille. It was the Chicago one.
Oh, yes, the one right after Celebration. Because we always do book donations wherever we're invited to Celebration. So,
but that when a book sits on a shelf for a while and you're just walking around, it gets a whole bunch of
dust,
just
germs,
dust and stuff that get on it. So which is why they always prefer new. And just good luck finding new books, scholastic books these days. Unfortunately.
I would agree with you, Jacob Ayers. The Jedi Apprentice series would be extremely popular if they reprinted it. But as far as I know, each one of those was printed once. And then to Quality Autism, do you guys know why the old YA stuff doesn't get reprinted? Like Young and Junior Jedi Knights? I think it's because they market it towards a generation of kids that are... especially with the later Jedi Apprentice to Jedi Quest to Last of the Jedi, where it was those kids that read at that reading level when that film came out. So the thought would be, at least at the time, that no one would care about those. The problem with that is that Jude Watson's an incredible writer, and they have lasting value. And that's the thing with the majority of the YA stuff. I think it's written exceptionally well.
Very popular, not just with the young crowd. They're just popular.
And it's also a rights issue because a lot of the old Expanded Universe young adults books, Scholastic wrote them, and Scholastic no longer has the rights. DK does.
So, of course, there's the publishing issues all behind the scenes, and I'm sure that's not fun to navigate, but if they wanted to, I'm sure it could be done.
Yeah. It'd be nice is some hardcover reprints of those.
Why? Do you know somebody who collects hardcovers?
I'm getting into. They've done a couple Star Wars leather-bound Barnes & Noble exclusive hardcovers. Those are my jam. Got that.
It sounds like your fetish.
It's my aesthetic.
It's his
He goes.
aesthetic.
He goes.
Check my OnlyFans if it's my my fetish.
I was about to say he goes to Barnes and Noble and he picks up the leather collector. He goes.
All right.
You
So
get
that's
super
why I
turned
don't
on
go to
from
Barnes
there,
and Noble
Jeremy.
anymore.
I just don't see why. Oh, go ahead.
They've sent his photo to all the Barnes and Noble locations across the country and are like, do not let this guy in. He gets way too intimate with the books.
Or you can't take that to the bathroom.
He's like, but it's Shadows of the Empire. No,
Oh, no.
Yeah, you definitely can't take that to the bathroom.
How do you know?
It's Legacy of the Force Invincible by Troy Denning.
oh my god. Well, it's
No
just,
comment.
Well, I was just gonna mention that, like, I really don't see why, like, Disney wouldn't allow this because, well, I was gonna make a couple. One, the old Legends games like Jedi Academy and like KOTOR, they were still releasing that. And, this is not Star Wars, but Marvel, like the Marvel comics, like they had multiple canons. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, why can't this, be
so
like
Yeah.
one other interesting point that I guess we didn't mention is that after the original Billboard went up, we did actually hear a few people from Lucasfilm indicate that they had no intention of continuing Legends at that time because their focus was on finishing their new trilogy.
Oh, okay.
So that was the reason why we decided to go for just after their trilogy concluded, is we figured, okay, they've had enough time to establish, they finished what they said they wanted to finish. Now's the perfect time to try and shift some, not all of their focus, but some of their focus over to Legends. And, that was just playing off of what they had said. Jedi Quest series on Kindle,
Yeah, the Jedi Quest series on Kindle, surprisingly. Yeah, Elder Scrolls Gaming, that's actually something we have thought of and looked into.
Mhm.
The problem with them doing the books on ebook is that in order for us to like buy the keys for the books or to say is we need to donate to some place that already has the infrastructure of like a bunch of like
A digital
Kindle,
library.
a digital library that already has that. And unfortunately, most schools these days don't have that. So that is something we're looking into, but at the moment it's not feasible.
I'd say if we keep on doing this for as long as we're thinking we're going to keep on doing this, that might be a thing we do in the future.
Quality Autism says, I'm just going to say it. Troy Denning wrote way more creepy, perverted stuff in Star Wars than Steve Perry did. Well, that's because Troy Denning wrote more Star Wars than Steve Perry did.
No, Jeremy, it's more like what I say about like Legacy of the Force. Each of his authors had like their common interests. Like for Aaron Elston, it was like the X-Wing fighters and like the pilots and stuff. For Karen Travis, who was the Mandalorians. For Troy Denning, it was innuendos and sex references.
I mean, for us people like me that like to have a solid timeline, we know when the Solo twins were conceived. We can have that in the timeline. It's like in
Chicka bow.
in the Star Wars Republic series. No, specifically, what was that? Obsessed, that miniseries that tied up Asajj Ventress's storyline in the EU. That storyline, we know when Luke and Leia were conceived. That's in there. And if you read the collected versions that were called the Clone Wars Volumes 1 through 9, it had the Clone Wars broken down month by month. So you can...
It's like they were just setting that up for somebody to do the calculations.
Well, I mean, I'm not the only one who does that. Like Joe Bon.
I know, that's probably why
down.
they set it up for somebody to calculate it. Or for somebody's.
I can see Jeremy applying that to like a 12-month calendar. It's just like, oh, that's their birthday,
Yeah, no, you never know.
He's the kind of guy that would do that, yes.
Why do you think I hate Star Wars The Clone Wars Wild Space? It wrecked my timeline, so I can't do that anymore.
One of us just goes to Jeremy's apartment and there's like diagrams all over the wall, like trying to connect it and everything, and just like Jeremy.
Da Vinci Code in my house.
Yeah.
When did this character make a baby with that character?
When did so-and-so die? That's another one I'm very curious about a lot of the time. It's like, oh, when did they specifically kick the bucket? We need to know this.
You would be, Jeremy, you'd be right at home on our Discord server. They love arguing those things all day long.
I know.
That is why I have muted our entire Discord server. I was getting notifications every effing second before muting it for like months on end.
You can find a link to that server if you want it.
Wait. I'm reading this.
Quality autism. I love
what?
It.
What?
It was a joke. Okay, it was a joke.
Oh.
Jaina didn't mean it like that, and they took it as that because Troy Denning.
I don't
remember that incident, but I remember a few books before where she was like, when they were hunting Alima, and she was like, "I bet my shirt," and then they both were like, "I accept." I remember that. I don't remember.
Okay, I'm trying to remember who Zek is. Is that her like boyfriend in the first Legacy of the Force book? I know
he's the guy from way back. He's like the kid from way back in the Young Jedi Knights.
Yeah, they were dating at the beginning of Legacy of the Force, also known as the Jaina Solo love triangle shipping wars.
Mm. Yeah, I got.
He goes all the way back to like Young Jedi Knights, and then he's there throughout. What's it called? The Yuzan Vong arc. He's there throughout. So he's been there basically since Jaina Solo was like 12.
All right, next, let's see. Oh no, we're not gonna go for that. I don't know.
Are you actually wanting to look at your comments now? You know this went to a dark place. This is not exactly children friendly.
No, I'm trying to get it so we don't get a complete explicit tag on iTunes, and in order to put this on iTunes, I have to read them out loud. So I'm trying to keep it, because every time that I try to censor myself when we don't do a live stream, Dylan will swear and vice versa. So I'm hoping with a live stream, if we don't really swear a whole lot, which is I haven't gotten.
Well, Criff. Wait, Star Wars cursing's okay. We're good.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Sisbon.
Dylan from speaking Russian because I don't like it. All right.
Christy Golden. Yeah, Christy Golding was set to write Sword of the Jedi. Amiza.
Okay.
I've heard mixed things about how far along that process she was, though.
Who knows? Oh, I just went to the expandeduniverse.com today, and I saw the article from April Fools, and I took one look at the title. I was like, I know why they wrote that.
Yeah. That was one of those, that's an obvious one. At least that was that obvious, because I'm pretty sure there are a few people that might have fallen for that one and freaked out.
Are you ready for round 2 of the train, everyone?
Oh.
Going out the rails on a creek. No.
That is an awful song by Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, I was gonna say if I keep singing it, you might get a copyright strike.
Remember our Airbnb in Chicago when we were like right next to the train?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Do you remember anything?
You were sick halfway through.
Yes, I was. It was not fun. But hey, it still was good time, like the first half of the time we did that. That was, of course, the year celebration went 5 days instead of 4.
Yeah, our Airbnb was like right by the local.
No, in all seriousness, I mean, running a booth at Celebration is a good time. I don't have to run around, and all the fun people come to us.
I did all the running around and taking pictures.
Yep. You kept everybody entertained.
I think my favorite part about both celebrations is you explicitly stating that you were on vacation and like having like different people in your family who would like take your calls and still having to drop out at least once every other hour to take a call.
Look, a property manager is never fully off. I'm just shocked I haven't gotten the phone call while we've been on this podcast.
Yeah, you're having all sorts of fun with the COVID-19.
Oh, yeah, it's all sorts of fun.
I see your Facebook posts. I'm like, I'm just
Thankfully, I'm a commercial property manager, so I've been in an interesting position when it's come to a lot of our tenants and what our landlords can actually afford to do for letting them off the hook for rents and whatnot. But it's been interesting following all the executive orders that have been going out in Arizona. So he's definitely taking a step-by-step process, trying to get us up to where a lot of the others are. But it's been interesting.
August 20-something through August 20-something. I don't remember the exact dates.
I think it's the last weekend of August, at least currently, unless they delay it, which could happen.
It's August 20-something through August 20-something.
We're supposed to know any time now if we're going or not.
By any time now, he means February.
We were supposed to know February or March, but they often are late in telling us, so no surprise.
Yeah.
When have they ever gotten back with us on time?
Ryan,
good point.
You should let me take your place.
Let you take my place?
I'll do your job the best that I can.
I'm a little
scared. See, I have an underling now. For the first time ever, I have an underling already.
One?
Just one. Hey, it's been a decade, but I finally have one, so I'm taking it.
Hey, Jeremy, do you mind if I ask these three the question I asked you and Matthew the other day?
I don't remember. You asked me a lot of questions, so I don't remember which one.
Well, I asked them, after I'm done with Darth Bane trilogy, should I start with Dawn of the Jedi, or should I start with post Return of the Jedi and Legends?
Yeah.
You shouldn't start with Dawn of the Jedi.
Never. That's if you're desperate for Legends, read it, I guess. But
if you're doing the comics, which
comics,
if you're comics, sure. The book takes place before the comics, so
Yeah, 2 years prior.
Well, the first Old Republic one I read was Revan, so that is as far back as I went.
Revan's awful. Just saying that.
But if you start in timeline order, it would be Dawn of the Jedi, then you do Lost Tribe of the Sith, and then
I actually do want to read that Lost Tribe of the Sith. I have the thing right here.
The collected anthology.
The trouble with Dawn of the Jedi, I think, isn't necessarily its plot so much as its writing style that really gets a lot of people hung up on it. So it's really hard to describe it. They like to time skip a lot, and it's very hard to tell when they've time skipped. So it can be hard to follow. I
would very much recommend, if you're going to read Dawn of the Jedi, to not read Dawn of the Jedi and listen to the audiobook, because January Lavoie does a fantastic job of clearly defining when they've gone back in time, when they've skipped ahead, when it all is when things have changed, basically.
Let's go ahead.
Tell them what I told you.
What did you tell me? You said start from the beginning, right?
Yep. And I will justify this because Tales of the Jedi Marvel Epic Collection Volume 1 comes out in the fall, and that is all of the Dawn of the Jedi comics. So potentially Adam could get through all of the Dawn of the Jedi reading this year and never have to touch it again.
I mean, on the upside, you start that now, and it's like all up, all improving from there.
It only took them 5 years to print what is arguably the best story of Star Wars comics ever. And they didn't even print it. They printed Dawn of the Jedi, and they're eventually going to get to... They printed Dawn of the Jedi and called it Tales of the Jedi.
Before everyone in the comments, before I address your question, I have to tell you my sad Tales of the Jedi tale.
Uh-oh.
So I spent $400 buying the the Dark Horse omnibuses. Tales of the Jedi, only to find that Tales of the Jedi Omnibus 2 had half of Redemption ripped out of it.
Oh.
Which is my favorite Tales of the Jedi story. I told them.
Like ripped out as in you bought a used copy and some dumbass had ripped it out physically, or as in...
That's just hurtful.
It made
but
me
at the same time, can you blame them?
I got they wanted to keep my money back.
He wanted to charge extra and called it a deleted scene.
I've heard. No, in all seriousness, for your Dawn of the Jedi question, it's hit or miss. It depends on if you can follow the reading style. If you can follow the reading style, it's not a bad read. If you can't, just skip it.
I'll
You're
say
not
I
really
enjoyed
missing
it,
much.
but like I also watch and read a lot of stuff that's not necessarily told in a consecutive order. So it was more, I guess, it's been years since I read it. But I guess to me, it made logical sense enough that I was able to loosely follow it along enough to enjoy it.
Okay.
Jacob Ayers, do you guys think a Legends Count Dooku novel would have been good?
Depends on who wrote it.
I pitched this several episodes ago when we were talking about filling out the EU and finishing up. That I think that there should at least be a Count Dooku trilogy, if not a trilogy called called Dooku and a trilogy called Tyrannus. That just chronicles his life, because he's one of my favorite movie villains.
Well, I was gonna say it would be nice to see what would happen, like like how we learned that he left the Jedi Order in Plagueis. It'd be nice to see like what happened in between then until it became Darth Tyrannus.
It's like you got one thread of the story where the rest of that tapestry is just not done yet. Like
Ooh,
they
that's
need
a
to
good
finish
idea.
that up.
That's a good idea. Have Lucino write a sequel to Plagueis, Tyrannus.
That is I would read that. I love Lucino. So
I want more to that, though. At least more than one book, because I want Jedi Dooku. We don't get that in the EU a whole lot.
Well, there's a lot of that they couldn't
You get
explore.
it in the Jango Fett open seasons a little bit.
Oh yeah, briefly when I won't spoil that. That's a good storyline that everyone.
And if the closest thing we have to a Dooku story in Legends is Yoda Duck Rendezvous.
Yeah, you can pull from that.
Well, aside from like the Jude Watson stuff, like because he's in like what is it, Legacy of the Jedi, Secrets of the Jedi?
Yes, he's in that briefly.
Elder Scrolls Gamer just said that.
Yes, thank you, Elder. Yeah, I really can't speak English right now.
How many drinks are you in?
I only had one, and I'm not even tipsy anymore. I'm just tired at this point.
I think we need to get more in. Let's do this, Amelia. Good idea.
I found out today that my favorite taco shop does take out margaritas. And it was the first margarita I'd had in like a month. I've had alcohol since, lockdowns and shelter-in-place orders, but they're damn good margaritas.
Emerez, yes, they will be doing Tales of the Jedi in the Epic collections. Wait 2 years, though, because they only do one of those a year. Starting next year, we'll get actual Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Jedi.
Eventually. It'll most likely be, at this point, it'll most likely be 3 volumes, because I think they're just going to rip straight everything that was in the original Omnibuy 1 and Omnibuy 2. So it'll be, what is that, 4 years until Tales of the Jedi is out? Incomplete?
Yeah, 3 years.
Hey,
but also, I think they will include Knight Errant in that, because that would fit, unless they're going to do an Old Republic Volume 4, which I don't think they're going to do. Which they should. They should continue the Old Republic volumes. I get that they only did KOTOR and KOTOR War in those, but we need at least the Old Republic stuff collected in something called the Old Republic.
I think Knight Errant would be in an Old Republic 4, because Knight Errant happens between KOTOR and the Bane trilogy.
Well, the thing is, it's not to me with the Epic collections. It's not necessarily about continuity. It's more about fitting the title of your Epic collection with the tone of what your story is based off of. And Knight Errant is a tale of a Jedi, sort of. Even though you could argue that KOTOR is the tale of a Jedi, he's just a really terrible one.
Speaking of,
it's so wonderful.
I have a question for you guys, and it's been bothering me. Speaking of KOTOR, and we talked about Revan recently. On the Revan cover, he has a green lightsaber. Like, were they trying to imply in the game that was the lightsaber he was supposed to get, or was he supposed to get a blue one?
They gave him every lightsaber possible at different points in his life.
I noticed that.
So that no matter what lightsaber you chose, it would canon.
It's like he had an LED light. It's like he had an LED light crystal in his lightsaber. So
That's
just
right.
changed.
Hey, well, they make those now, right? So they just, his was special. That was his special feature on his lightsaber.
That's actually a theory for the continuity error that Tales the Jedi has, where in a lot of the arts, the lightsabers change, that they have like dual phase lightsabers because the crystals weren't powerful enough, so they had to switch between two crystals while they were powered on for too long.
But in Republic Honor and Duty, Anakin's running around with a green lightsaber right before Attack of the Clones.
I do know that Black Series is making a Revan lightsaber, and you can switch out the crystal to make it either purple or red.
Those are his most common colors.
So what, Jeremy?
Darth Vader's running around with a purple lightsaber in Jedi versus Sith, as I recall.
He had a purple lightsaber in the miniature form,
which is obnoxious, and it's not even a curved hilt either. Jedi vs. Sith is a pile of trash. I'm just gonna say it. Although I wish it was collected, just like I wish Union was collected. Even though I think that's the worst thing Michael Stackpole ever wrote. It was just fan service. The comic, no storyline. It's just like, hey, remember Corran Horn? Well, here he is for 2 seconds.
Hey, he was in 3 frames. Thank you.
Jordan, here he is in the corner.
That was my least favorite thing when they put everyone in suits and you couldn't tell who was who.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The art gets really lazy at near the end. Remember when Mara fights a former royal guard and then they don't show it in a comic book and it's like it's just made to be a joke? God, what a bad series.
That's how the Ransom era ended.
Yeah, that's the definitive end. Well, actually, you could argue that Young Jedi Knights is the end.
Yeah.
That's a better end. It's not very climactic, but like...
So, Adam, if we were to direct you to read something after Return of the Jedi, what would we start him on?
Truce of Bakura.
Probably. That's what I'm thinking.
It's like literally a couple days after Return of the Jedi.
I think the closest that I have post Return of the Jedi and Legends is Shadows of Mindor with Luke Skywalker.
Don't read that. It's garbage.
Yeah,
that is the worst thing Matthew Stover's ever written.
Well, it's like if you start at Truce of Bakura, right, and you want to go timeline wise, then that's the next one. And then if you can get a copy of Heart of the Jedi, then you. But otherwise, you'll have to read it online.
Bounty Hunter Wars in there before Heart of the Jedi.
Bounty Hunter Wars is before that. I thought it was.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter Wars flashes before Return of the Jedi, and then right after because it opens with Boba Fett getting shit out of the Sarlacc.
See, I like Truce of Bakura too. I was actually a little disappointed that there weren't any copies to donate. The last 2 purchasing sessions we did, but it's a good book.
Well, where I was going with that is if you start at Truce of Bakura, then sure, you have Luke Skywalker and the Shadows of Minor, but then you have 6 X-Wing books.
Oof.
Yeah. It's like, and those are great
those
books,
are good.
But if you're not into X-Wing, then if you're not into X-Wing or you don't really care about the pilots or Wedge, then I don't think Truce of Bakura is a good starting point for you.
Now, those are about Wedge.
The X-Wing books, yeah.
Primarily.
Okay. Well, yeah, I actually like Wedge's character, so I might.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Truce of Bakura works, but for anyone else who wants to start at the post Jedi, if you have no interest in like anyone but the big 3, I don't think Truce of Bakura is a good choice unless you're going to skip over the X-Wing books.
You gotta give him the boring correct answer.
So what?
Have you read Shadows of the Empire?
Me? Yeah, that was my first Legends book.
Okay, then I would recommend. Here's what I would recommend for novel: read Truce of Bakura, then either read the Bounty Hunter Wars, which I have to warn you that trilogy is pretty boring. It's the most boring way you could write Boba Fett possible, but there's some good moments in it. Or get the first Marvel Epic Collection, The New Republic Volume 1, and read Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand.
I think I saw that at like Barnes and Noble one time. Like, does it start with like Luke on Endor? Like, he's like, now what do I do?
Let me pull it out because I haven't looked at the Epic Collection because I've read
Because I remember in one comic, like Luke was like talking about, like, well, I defeated the Death Star, and where's like Obi-Wan and Yoda now? Like, what do I do now?
Well, that's probably a tale story. I have to warn you with the Epic Collections, it's the one downside to them. They intermix the tale stuff.
Oh,
The tail
okay.
stuff tends to be infinities.
No, this opens with Mara Jade volume issue 0.
Amelia looks like she's about to take a nap.
No, I just like noticed something hanging behind my pillow, and I was like, "What is that?" And I noticed it was like a bottle of B12, but it was like, "What is that?" I only noticed it because of where the camera was angled. I'm like, it confused me.
Confused.
Confused. It's an older meme, but it checks out.
Oh man, I forgot there's a Mara Jade story in the first issue of Tales. That's not good. But no, the thing also, if you're reading the Epic Collection, read through the first volume of it. Actually, read the first 3 volumes of Epic Collections before you hit Luke Scott. Actually, first 2. Because then you get halfway through Rogue Squadron, or possibly Requiem. No, Requiem for a Rogue is the first story in the Epic Collection, Volume 3 of the New Republic. Read that, then read Shadows of Mindor.
Oh God, Dylan just made a meme.
Then go back and finish the 3rd Epic Collection, and then if you can get a hold of it, read the
Post it, Dylan.
Dark Forces.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Read the Dark Forces books, but you're good luck finding those.
So
they aren't necessary.
Let me interpose right there. I actually, that was actually my first find for Legends content or Expanded Universe content at the time, was those Dark Forces trilogy. That's technically how I got into Legends. It wasn't, I don't really count them as a novel though, because they're kind of smaller. They're definitely light.
A graphic novel is the best.
Basically. But yeah, then I went to the X-Wing series after that. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, then go read the first 5-6 X-Wing books. Then Courtship of Princess Leia.
Okay. I use my Overdrive app, and I think I've seen like most, if not all, of these on there. So the only problem with that is like I'd have to like force myself to read it like all the way through, since I only have like a certain amount of days to get it done. So
I mean, if you want to add to it, you can start reading the Marvel comics that intertwine with that, but it's not necessary for most of it. You get more out of Luke Skywalker in the Shadows of Mindor in the short run. In the long run, it's not. You get more when it comes to Legacy of the Force, but other than that, it's not necessary.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this video after it's posted just to take all this notes.
That's what I honestly.
That was a lot of titles.
Most of the time.
That was a lot of titles.
Basically, watch Matt Wilkins' videos after the Return of the Jedi novelization, because I also didn't mention the Tales books, the Tales novels. That if you really want to get technical, or maybe you should read some of the West End Games adventure journals, or some stuff off of Savudu.com. Actually, that stuff's not up on there anymore. Never mind.
There's archives somewhere.
I see after Return of the Jedi, Tales from Jabba's Palace. I don't know if I want to know what happened there.
There's some good stuff in there.
What happens in Jabba's palace stays in Jabba's palace.
I was going to say what happens in Jabba's Palace gets eaten by the Rancor.
I mean, that too.
Did that Rancor just like starve? If Luke didn't come by and kill it, without Rancor just starved.
That's right, it was Mercy.
Would you consider Luke the PETA of Star Wars?
Not based off of his actual appearances in the Legends timeline. I don't know about the Disney canon, though.
I don't know.
I mean, he disarmed a Wampa, quite literally.
Yeah, I was thinking of Darksaber, too.
That Wampa comes back.
He shot Womp-Rats out of his T-16.
Those audio dramas are
he
good.
definitely was not in favor of the ethical treatment of animals.
I think Jason would make a better PETA.
What, the part where he burns the old planet?
It was to save them.
Yes, that was entirely to save them from themselves.
I mean, that technically wouldn't be that distant, considering that the real life PETA euthanizes more than 80% of the animals it takes in every year.
Rebel Jedi has a good point there. That if you can't find the novellas for Dark Forces, the audio drama is definitely a good listen.
Also, good luck finding that too. That's gone out of print recently.
I'm glad I got the copy I did. I think I actually found it. I found it at an antique shop. It was a lucky find.
The CD?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to the Crimson Empire audio drama?
I have not, but I also found that at an antique shop, but it was on tape.
Oh, dude, you just got to convert it.
You don't have a cassette player, Brian?
I do. I just haven't converted it over yet.
You know, Amelia, I used to have a cassette player, but it burned in the fire.
You had a lot of things, then they burned.
Oh, I had a ton of shit. That's for sure.
How much did you actually manage to save?
How much did I have to save?
Yeah.
A copy of Courtship of Princess Leia that's signed by Dave Wolverton. That's it.
But did you save any other personal belongings besides the stuff you can't mention on your YouTube channel?
What did I save? I saved a cat.
Oh my! I just got the visual from those people from the Hercules cartoon that says like we lost everything, and the file's like everything except those snowball here, and it shows a charred up cat.
I mean, yes, except for it was a lot more depressing for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's more like The Office when like Dwight stages an office fire, and then Angela tosses her cat to Oscar, and she's like, "Save Bandit!" and then he falls right down.
I mean, it kind of gives you a good idea, though, as a little bit of a segue as to how good our relationship is with certain aspects of the professional side of the Star Wars universe. When we got Del Rey to send you a few books, I mean, I was kind of sorry, but not sorry. They sent you some of those books.
Well, no, I got to review Master and Apprentice, which is my favorite new canon book, thanks to them. I got a whole bunch of, I didn't have to do a whole lot of rebuilding of my new canon, actually, because I have rebuilt it, minus I don't own the first Thrawn book yet. Mainly because I can't find it for a good deal.
No, it was really nice of them to send those, though.
Yeah.
Like, that was Del Rey who did that.
Wait,
they ran into us at Star Wars Celebration last year, and like they found out from either Brian or Dylan or both that our buddy Jeremy here had lost most of his library in a forest fire.
Was that just
living
last
in California?
Yeah, that was last Celebration.
Hey, Jeremy, which Thrawn book are you talking about?
What's up?
Which Thrawn book are you talking about?
Thrawn by Timothy Zahn, the first new canon Thrawn.
Okay, because I was going to say, the bookstore down the road from me, I think, has that. If they do, whenever these all the stores open back up again, I'll get it and send it to you.
Is it
hardcover?
Is it hardcover? I believe so.
There we go.
He's not going to take it unless it's hardcover.
I am at the point where I'm half tempted to take Crosscurrent and Riptide and make my own hardcover privately. So I can have the duology in hardcover, even if it's the
Man's obsessed.
Bound hardcover. I want that.
There are worse things to be obsessed with, I suppose.
What are you going to do when you get to X-Wing?
Oh my god! Don't even get me started with that. Because Mercy kills in hardcover. That's what you're.
Jeremy. A couple months back, before coronavirus shut everything down, I actually found a copy of Tempest hardcover at Half Price Books.
All right. Well, here's a question.
Tempest: Legacy of the Force.
Oh, I have all.
One of the ones that was not initially published as hardback.
So here's a question for everyone. How do you organize your Star Wars shelf, and why do you do it chronologically?
Let me show you guys.
Because continuity, Dylan.
Well, I have mine at the moment since I'm starting collecting them, or as well as I can. I just have them kind of like hardcovers in one section and paperbacks in the other. So that's. But I still try to keep them in order.
Because Star Wars EU fans don't know anything about collections.
I will say that the hardcovers do look good on the bookshelf there, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you. It was really hard to get it to fit in that closet. Let me just say.
Jacob Ayers, what are your opinions on the Ewok comics? I haven't read them.
I don't even know they had them.
Yeah, this is another one I regrettably have to admit. I haven't actually read too many of the comics in general. The Epic collections I've been getting mostly because I haven't read a lot of that material.
I know they had a TV show and a spin-off movie, but I don't know about comics.
I'm sure Matt has read those comics.
Oh, it's the shortest.
He
All
reads
right,
them
Bill.
for his Ewok.
You're a madman.
Oh, wait.
They aren't that great. They're for children. The one thing, though, is there's a Droids Ewoks crossover that explains why they worship C-3PO as a god.
Sounds like somebody was on track when they wrote it.
No, they were that guy. He wrote both the Droids cartoon spinoff comics and the Ewoks spinoff cartoon comics.
Was he on track the whole time?
Oh no, he just needed money and he was trying to boost sales, which didn't work. But for us EU fans, it's the one thing to read for those. It explains that kind of.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. If you ever want to learn something new about the expanded universe, talk to Christopher Nelson.
Yes,
you always seem to know something.
I was aware of those because Matt, I think Matt asked me if they needed to be, when he first found out if I spoke German. It's like when Matt asked everyone because of the Hungarian.
Yes, Hungarian.
Hungarian.
It's like, can you guys talk to everybody in the EU movement if they speak Hungarian? I need a translator.
German shouldn't be that difficult. There are a lot of Germans who live in the Midwest who still speak.
They are translated to English.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Because Matt reviewed them on Matt's Expanding Universe, so I'm assuming he's read them in order to do that.
Let's hope so. Wait, are you telling me that he's been putting on a front all along?
I mean, he's read everything. I can tell you based on the conversation Dylan and I had with him from how many states did we drive through, Dylan?
It was like 4 or 5.
Like 4 or 5 states.
Louisiana and Indiana.
See, that's a recording I wish you guys had. Like that conversation was probably amazing.
I was about to say,
Jeremy, weren't you asleep the entire time?
No, not on that drive home because I had slept enough. Drunk enough that. No, I mean everyone's probably heard the story of when I got so drunk at FenCon that I disappeared for an hour because I fell down and passed out in the hallway next to a bunch of neckbeards.
I didn't hear that part. I just heard that you slept the entire con.
I didn't sleep the entire con. He
slept for 90% of it, but he was definitely up for
I mean, that's not the entire con. It's not the entire con.
I talked to Dave Wolverton and was sober. When I talked to Margaret Weiss, that was questionable, and I did very upset that poor woman by asking about her Star Wars book that never got released.
Hey Jeremy, are you gonna join? Assuming Star Wars Celebration doesn't get canceled this year, are you gonna join us in Anaheim?
I don't know, Brian. Am I gonna join you in your place?
Not in my place, but we might have an extra spot open. We'll see.
Well, I'm expecting my job to never open again. And I will gladly sleep in Dylan's bed.
About the only place that'll have available.
Because if this convention doesn't get canceled, I'll probably end up either sleeping at Dylan's house or Travis's house, and I'm not sure which I should be more scared of.
Oh, I'll be drunk in the kitchen.
This is Amelia, where I tell you I'm getting my own place just to not be in either of those situations.
I can take maybe 2 people. I have a couch and an air mattress.
One person.
There's
what?
There's 2 doors. This entire apartment. There are 2 interior doors, and one's to the bathroom.
Oh, that's
so not
Brian,
Dylan.
I asked, how many beds and/or couches does this place you're getting have?
Enough.
No, I'm just saying that we drink only beer the whole convention.
Why do I have a feeling this is going to end with Dylan going over to Brian's place and be like, "Hey, can I sleep here?"
Why do I have a feeling this
That
is
actually
gonna
happened with our Airbnb last year, except it was Bill. He illegally slept at our Airbnb one night.
Hey, we admit to nothing. Anyway.
No.
More likely, if they spend the whole time drinking, what's going to happen is there's going to be no live stream. assuming I can actually get it working at all this time, there's going to be no live stream.
See, that's the way you would get me in general, is to get me to run that live stream. I know your ulterior motives. I will be sober for live streams ish.
You have to represent Twin Sons.
That's fine. I can do that. Get me one of those sexy polos, and I will gladly do it. I will get one about 2 sizes too small, so I look cool.
My name keeps getting mentioned, and like y'all are cutting in and out. Why does Streamlabs always doing this after the first hour?
Literally, Dylan, you're the only one.
Because your internet sucks, Dylan.
No beds in Orlando. You're right, there weren't. It was interesting times. Our Chicago experience was improved over our Orlando experience. We got better.
What happened in Orlando? Did you all end up in one room? Is that what happened?
No, it was Bill and I in one place and Dylan in the other. And then we had Dennis came in. He was somewhere else entirely. I think he had a hotel somewhere, and he would join us from time to time. So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, we technically had beds. Technically.
Yeah, this past year at a celebration, everybody except Ryan had a bed, and even then he got a nice comfy sofa.
Which he seemed okay with.
When we were at Gen Con, we had
about parking.
We had a 1-bedroom, like one bed to the 3 of us. And oh my god, Dylan...
Yeah,
Dylan
he dropped
nuked
off.
himself. He said he's going to try rejoining.
Yeah.
He nuked himself.
Why has he got to do this?
That's not as bad as the time that Matt accidentally deleted himself from his own live stream.
It was better than the floor, Bill.
Something like that happened on my channel the other night. Like, he had to go get his daughter, and then like, you kind of see him. He's like, "Oh, I gotta turn this down," and then he just disappears.
Yeah, like, he didn't leave initially. Like, he came back with this kid. He's like, "This is like, oh crap! Oh, I gotta add Dylan in." And I will be
Welcome back, Dylan.
I will BRB.
It did it again. It did it on Matt's stream. Now it did it. It does it here, where like my internet just like after an hour of streaming, it's just like, nope, Streamlabs doesn't want to work anymore.
Somebody
You have
was
shitty internet.
Well, it's mostly probably because of everybody being quarantined too. Like, everybody's
doing it. It's still doing it.
I don't know. We're in trouble now, guys. There's a certain individual who just popped up in chat.
Oh, no. We definitely blame your stream, Matt.
It's all over now. Of course, it's Matt's fault, especially if he actually
Matt,
shows up
remember...
the celebration.
Right. Hey, Matt, remember how those articles
Brian, did he tell you yet when I gave the twins for their birthday?
The Billboard?
I'm sorry, Dylan, what were you saying?
Are you kidding me? Remember when those articles in the expandeduniverse.com were supposed to have actual images of the Billboard going up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Hey, Brian, did Matt tell you what I got the twins for their birthday? Their birthday gift came in early.
No, I did not.
Oh, he loved it. So Amazon didn't actually give me a gift option, so I couldn't actually say like to Meridian and Piper from Amelia. But I messaged him. I said, "You're gonna know it's from me," and he did. He texted me and said, "Thank you for the Ewok costumes. They'll look great on Halloween." So yeah, there was these baby-sized Ewok costumes I'd seen months ago, but they were like way marked up. And then like I randomly looked up Ewok stuff the other day because I was thinking of getting the babies a birthday gift, and the Ewok costumes were marked down.
Welcome back to your own podcast, Jeremy.
Yes, welcome back. Guess what? We have a new person.
Oh, I know.
Chat.
The damn guy is here. I need to text him.
It's all over now. So, Adam, which books have you actually read from the Legends timeline now?
I've read Shadows of the Empire. I've read the Han Solo trilogy. I've read Death Troopers. I've read Revan.
Can you speak for us here? I'm going to turn up your audio.
I've read Darth Bane 1 and 2 and Darth Plagueis. And I think that's it.
Adam, I know
that's a
this
good
is
bit.
very important for you, but we have our first caller, and we're testing to see if this function actually works.
Oh dear, we're taking calls now.
Yes, hi. I'm a longtime viewer, first time caller,
I love the filter.
and I just want to say hello to everyone. And Dylan, you look like you dressed down in Jeremy's videos.
I know.
You were in a suit and tie.
No, he ran in. He's already running and hiding, Matt. He's already running and hiding.
I'd like to answer Jacob Ayers' question. Should episodes 7 and 8 have been Ewok movies? Darn skippy, they should have. But thanks to Amelia, now I have 2 little Ewoks who can star in background characters in that movie.
I mean, that's what I've heard. You know,
I can't wait to see them actually wear those things. That's going to be adorable.
but Matt, they'd only do it if their mother asked them, not you.
No, it's funny because Megan got it. Megan opened it up because it said Meridian. It said to Piper Meridian. I was like, oh, I know what this is. I gave it to Megan. Megan came into my came back into the back room and said, "Did you get these for the girls?" No, it did. But I would have. I'd have seen them. None of that. But yeah, we love them. We'll try to get them in for this Halloween, but if they can't, if they're a little too big, but if they for next year, they'll definitely go in them. Oh, definitely. Oh, it won't even be for Halloween. Daddy, why are we dressing up like this for school? Shut up. It's awesome.
Hey, Matt.
Pepper spray for all the nerdy boys.
Matt, if y'all join us for Celebration, they can be Ewoks at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, man, that'd be great. That'd be great. Actually, and they can be double Halloween costume because if they love Care Bears, I'll just throw a rainbow on one of the Ewoks' tummies.
I mean, it works. Yeah. I mean, the 24-month-old stuff usually fits babies by the time they're like 16 or 18 months anyways, because the sizing charts are off. So they'll fit them sometime in like the summer or fall anyways.
And make them care walks? I think that would. Care walks.
I have not fallen asleep yet, Bill. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's Bill.
Yeah.
That took me a hot minute to figure that out.
That is Bill. So for those who don't know, Bill is actually a former board member of
Brian,
Tombstone
God
Foundation.
damn it. Let our caller speak. I'm so sorry, Matt.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Because he was a former board member, Bill was, until he decided not to get me my extra yub nub.
He was off the board way before we found that $850 Ewok.
I think Netflix is doing a documentary on it called The Ewok King.
Oh my gosh.
Waffling.
I literally said this earlier, Jeremy. I cannot escape these memes and the Tiger King reference.
Yeah, I just didn't watch all of Tiger King. It was wonderful. A life-changing experience.
From board member to Kudu. Is the subtitle.
Yeah, we could have bought 3 tigers for the price of 2 billboards.
Where would they go? Your apartment is the correct answer.
No. We'd give them to Brian so that he could taunt
as someone who is heavily
misbehaving
invested in the meme
tenants.
economy, it's literally all been COVID-19 and Tiger King memes.
Pretty much.
And crossovers between the two.
Holy
Pretty
cow.
much.
I don't know how much there's a yub nub on eBay right now, Bill. You can redeem stuff. It's only $1,000.
I mean, with inflation, that's not that much more than it was before.
I mean, at Star Wars Celebration, he was $850. We should have seized our opportunity and gotten him for $850 at Star Wars Celebration.
I mean, look, we're roughly a year later, and it's already inflated. $150. Look at that. That's a great investment. Why didn't we do that?
I think the question.
Go
ahead.
Shut up, Trish. Okay, yeah, you should get one. You should get me this one.
Did you know Matt actually got Yub Nub for free for helping a friend
Oh, I
move?
know. It's one of my favorite Matt stories.
There's one where it's just a box. It's for $750. I guess it's the mystery box. Yub nub. On the back, on the box it says Ewok plush, one piece. I guess that means I never even opened it. It's fresh in the box. Why would you get an Ewok and you keep it? It's in a regular cardboard box, like the shipping box. He's taking pictures of the shipping box. It's a picture of the Ewok. Only $750. It could be the giant Ewok, or it could be a giant Jar Jar. You know what? You never know. Or it could be a bag of pork. Well, he'd really lose. You may as well get a book of crystal stars. Box of crystal stars. If it was a box of crystal stars, Matthew from the Geek Pack would just go all over. He'd bid all over.
Yeah, he'd be all over that.
Yeah, he'd be like really upset if it was one of those Witchfinder variants.
We should make a plush Waru. A big plush Waru.
Matt said it best. That's just a can of Spam and cornflakes.
All right.
So it's easy to do.
Hear me out here. What if, because I think we still need a few more celebration table raffle prices. What if we can get our hands on more copies of Witchfire?
Does everybody even know what we're talking about when we say that?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to. We've talked about it on so many streams.
Okay. As long as everybody knows.
I'll get it.
I don't know what that is.
No? All right. Not everybody knows. So you better show up.
Oh, the classic Star Wars story, Witchfire by James Clemens. The Star Wars story.
They put the wrong cover on the book. And they released a bunch of them, so a bunch of Legend fans went hunting for them because they're not collectors. We don't have collectors in this
Are you
fandom.
there?
Yes, I'm still here. I was just thinking about how Bill is going to ship it to me. I guess I could go halvesies on him with shipping.
Yeah.
That's so nice of Bill to be doing that. I mean, he's in a tough way right now, but that's so nice of him to do that.
Will Dylan be dancing anytime soon? Because I'd like to see that dance we were promised.
Yeah, especially in that polo and nothing else.
I'm gonna go.
And it's at that point we had the cancel.
This is what Legends is all about. Going in this hairpiece.
This is fantastic.
All right, what are we reading, people?
What are we reading right now?
Crown of Swords, chapter 22.
Right on.
Go ahead.
Just finished.
I'm also reading. Excuse me. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I Kanye Wested you there, but I'll let you talk for just 1 minute. But I'm also reading into Dylan's eyes, and I don't like what I'm reading. Please put them down.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hmm.
Can I tell Matt what we were talking about the other day?
Yeah, you can tell him like anything.
Well, I was gonna say, Matt.
Time.
I was searching for something to watch on my Roku, and I texted Matthew and Jeremy, say like, "Hey, there's one of the Highlander movies on here." And then Jeremy said, "Watch it." I was like, "Watch it." That's what Jeremy said. And I said, "It said what was it? Highlander."
The source. He found Highlander, the source.
And then he immediately said, all caps, "Don't watch that."
Why? The first Highlander movie, aka the only Highlander movie, is still on Amazon Prime, as far as I know.
Yes, that, and I've been watching the Highlander series. Just got all put on Amazon Prime, free to watch, and I've been binging that. I'm on season 2 right now. They also have Highlander the Raven on there, and possibly Highlander 3, which is the other good Highlander movie. Actually, I will defend Highlander 2.
I think so.
Okay, but which version of Highlander 2? Because I've only seen... Yeah, that's the only version I've seen where they cut off all references to, like, the planet Zeist or whatever. And then it made even less sense!
Yeah, it also has some very unfinished special effects in it, which I thought was funny. I love when they do that. They just get lazy and don't finish it.
As far as reading, I'm currently waiting to read Darth Bane 3, and I'm reading a couple of other books. So
Why would you want to read that? You didn't get guilted or mind tricked into it or anything.
I want to finish it because I just I got to know how it ends now. So
So I mentioned this on Matt's channel last week, but I'm reading The Trials of Apollo, which is a follow-up to Rick Riordan's previous 2 series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Heroes of Olympus. So Bill asked which book this is. It's book 3 in the series. But yeah. Yeah, he's actually friends with a couple of the Star Wars authors, including Paul Kemp. I think Paul Kemp has actually thanked him for, the thing at the beginning of the book where they, thank their friends and their spouses and whatever, and, who they dedicate the book to. I think Paul Kemp has dedicated a couple of the books to Riordan.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, what are you reading?
So, in between books at the moment, I did have a pre-order come in 3 nights ago, but it was a light novel from a Japanese animation series that I've been following for a while now. Finished that in 2 nights, so that doesn't really count, but I'm getting ready to start Star by Star again.
Nice.
Okay, but was the comic in English or was it in Japanese?
It was in English. It's a light novel. It's actually not a
So
comic.
you're only half a weeb.
Yeah, he's not that much of a weeb.
But he does know some Japanese, so he is more of a weeb.
Hey, I gotta let you go. I'll call you back.
All right, later, dude.
Bye, Matt.
see you, Matt.
I'm just so glad that the Bluetooth function on my soundboard actually works. That was more a test for me than anything.
So what I'm hearing here is that we need to get your phone number published so that we can get more callers into your Legends podcast.
Call live into Legends podcast.
So no. If for real talk, if I'm going to Celebration with you, I'm taking the soundboard with me. You should supply 3 more microphones and mic stands.
Wait, you don't want everybody crowding around my cheap microphone?
No, basically, so how Legends podcast works, if I can part the kimono here for weeb terms. Basically, when I record these, I record on one track and you all get put on one track. That's just how it works when we do it like this. But if we were doing this local, I could do 4 mics. I just don't want to pay for another 3 because they're expensive. So I'm just saying, if you manage to bring 3 mics and 3 mic stands, and 3 pop filters if you're all spitty and weird.
I technically could bring this one.
Is it XLR or is it USB?
I think it's XLR actually.
Then yes, so two mics, because USB won't do us any good plugging into this. I can monitor all your all's sound waves, and we can.
I'm just over here what the heck?
So also, if you have an unused microphone that you would like to have a good home, you can always donate it to twin-sons.net/window.
And we can give you a tax-deductible receipt for it.
I mean, technically not wrong.
I was gonna say, you guys are talking about Celebration. I'm just you guys are gonna post what the?
What are you doing? You're a monster.
I'm sorry about that.
I was gonna say, you guys are gonna be posting about all this fun you're having, and be like, yeah, that sounds fun. Wish I was there, while I'm changing a baby's diaper or something like that.
Yeah, Amelia, there's another person who you can harass to look at their children.
Wait,
He's
what?
About the same age as Matt.
Wait,
Amelia has a weird obsession with babies, and I'm not sure why.
I mean, she's also got a profession related to babies, but there is
I'm a child care worker.
That is fabricated.
That's fabricated. It's a cover. It's all a cover.
Yep.
Jeremy, I'm gonna say you're cutting in at weird times because all I heard from that was look at your children. What?
Oh, it's doing it for you too now. So it's a Streamlabs thing.
10 out of 10. This is great.
You're making me sound creepier than I am, Jeremy.
That's debatable, but
oh my gosh.
What are you reading?
What, me?
Yeah, you. No one
I'm
is
the only one who hasn't said.
Look, The Last Jedi.
Excuses.
The Last Jedi is just so hard to get into.
Which one?
The Reeves one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's also a $500 hardcover. I know. I have it.
Did you spend $500 on it?
No. I bought a whole bunch of hardcovers at once from an eBay dealer who happened to watch the channel at some point and like knew my plight. So he cut me a deal on things. So I got Stealth, Siege, both the Gambit duology and the Sentry hardcovers, then Wild Space and Clone Wars No Prisoners in those same Sentry hardcovers. Because yes, they did get printed in hardcover, just on America, and I have them, and I've had them twice now. I got Yoda Dark Rendezvous. What were the other ones? All of Jedi Apprentice, all of Jedi Quest, and Coruscant Knights trilogy and Last of the Last Jedi in hardcover, and I paid probably $400 for all.
That's quite a few of them, especially for them not being in print in hardcover anymore. That's
and
not bad.
Rarity. And he also threw in a Luke Skywalker's Galaxy's Edge Doc Ondor's lightsaber with a blade, free.
Nice.
Is he in love with you, Jeremy?
No, I had bought a bunch of things previous before the fire. So I have known him for like several years, and he's a private guy, and
so he's like your dealer, is what you're telling us.
Basically, with a lot of stuff. And I was throwing the bull.
He took pity on you.
Is this the same lightsaber you showed on Geeks Addict channel?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The extension of my manhood, as I like to call it.
Well, I thought we were keeping this relatively family-friendly, Jeremy.
It was the extension of insert certain where.
Okay, Troy Denning, calm down.
But yeah, no. The only thing I kicked myself for not getting this from him is he had Republic Commando Volume 2 hardcover, which is True Colors and Order 66 in the hardcover, and I didn't get that, and now he doesn't have it anymore. That's like $150 book.
That's
if you can find it.
Hey, Jeremy, can you bring in Matt Wilkinson's new comments?
Which one?
The bottom two.
The
bottom three now?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that just to see how he's bad-mouthing us, because we all know what Matt would do.
And then next, breaking news.
I mean, good for Matt.
Another breaking news. Like, this is kind of like this is
debatably good for everyone. I'm not sure.
Brian, I have an idea for the next Twin Sons, fundraiser.
I veto this idea instantly.
Win Dylan's hand in marriage.
No one wants that.
I want to see this. I don't know.
There can only be two billboards, that is. Very good. I like that one. I do like that one.
And I am not doing that. That's okay.
What? You're not going to share Matt's last comment?
It's not directed for us.
Oh no, the very most recent one kind of is.
Breaking Amelia.
I feel like Dylan will be even less compliant than I will be. I will dance with anyone who's willing.
What would happen? Would Dylan's toupee fall off, or would he just give up?
You think I can dance? That's cute.
I can't dance either. I just kind of like swirl people around and do weird shit.
That's right, Matt. You got it right on. There's going to be no dancing on my part.
Dylan, what would be next after The Last Jedi? Would you go into AC Crispin's Han Solo trilogy? Is that next?
Oh, well, thanks, Matt.
I believe so. Yep.
That's what you can look forward to.
Hey,
Jacob Ayers had a good question. One below that comment. Has gone into slavery, the Ewok slave trade.
What's up, Adam?
Well, I was gonna say, don't listen to the Han Solo trilogy on on audiobook because the reader pronounces Coruscant as Coruscant, and it drives me nuts.
It's also
yeah.
abridged.
Say what, Jeremy?
It's also abridged.
Oh yeah,
They
Yeah,
make
the guy
those,
that-
books
the guy that-
3 hours long.
Yeah, the guy that did the books for the guy that did like all the Bantam era abridged audiobooks, he's like terrible with pronunciations.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, what am I doing now? Adam has decided to give Matt and Jeremy's. Hey, if you can hack his computer, then power to you. I mean,
For those of you who don't know, I whipped the Geeks Addict tail in trivia. It's mainly Harry Potter trivia is what saved me, and Jurassic Park, not Star Wars, and not Lord of the Rings, because I'm not up to date on those movies. He got those, but
yeah, I tried to shuffle them all to where they were even, but I was just like, well, I was trying to skip over a few cards. Like, well, we already asked like 3 Harry Potter questions. Let's move on to something else.
But yeah, I will end with what I'm reading, which is Darth Maul's Shadowhunter. I am almost done. I have a couple chapters to go. And then I am moving on. I'm going back in the timeline to read Prelude to Rebellion, the first arc of the Dark Horse Star Wars comics. Reread that. It's been years.
Matt had an important announcement, and that there are no cases. No, above that, there are no cases of COVID-19 on Endor.
I mean, he's probably right. That's what I heard.
I could just see Matt Wilkins being like the newspaper, like, extra, read all about it. Jeremy starts a GoFundMe page.
The computer group should do the newsies next time.
How much does it cost for an Ewok that was at the Battle of Endor?
Oh,
That
which one?
That's a canon question, right? Because Canon's the one that had therapy Ewoks.
that's true. That's an aftermath life debts after John Burrell gets his eye horribly graphically ripped out of his skull.
I thought that was a joke. That was real?
No, that's a thing. That's a thing. We go in the 3 chapters, including the interlude, 3 chapters. We go from interspecies erotica to graphic eye ripped out to therapy Ewoks.
Okay.
Just all of the polar, like...
So that whole, we donate new canon books thing, I think we're going to have to reassess that, guys.
If you want to get into
Hey, Matt, which pandemic are they trying to prevent? Are they trying to prevent the corona pandemic from reaching Endor, or are they trying to prevent the Porg pandemic from reaching Endor?
what about the Chuck Wendig pandemic?
It's too late.
He savaged that planet. It's gone.
Endor vets are very hard to come by. They suffer from, what is that?
PTSD.
Oh,
Post-Endor stress disorder.
Oh my gosh.
If we are wrapping up, I did want to say one thing for everybody. If you could please share any stories you see about the billboards going up or anything like that. With it being during the middle of this quarantine, it's going to be hard for us to get word out than people seeing it in person would be otherwise. So any shares on that story would be appreciated when you get it out to as many people as possible.
Careful, Jacob. That's a dangerous promise to make. He will demand you everything of you. Everything.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Why did you pay me $10K for just being here?
I was about to say, like, you probably shouldn't. That's in writing now, so you might want to try to delete that.
All right. Thank you all for joining me for a Legends podcast, and we'll hope to see you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Wash your hands.